satisfied. Love, be my light, like a bright star in the night. Baby, when I'm wrong, won't you please show me the way home? Never want to say goodbye, just keep me by your side. Love, make me smile, you make it all seem worthwhile. Love, fill my mind, you make it feel so very fine. In the morning, don't be gone, just greet me with a song. When you talk about your love, it makes me see why I'm so glad about you. So glad about you. So glad about you.
En Cuba, y hasta ahora en día puedo leer y puedo escribir en español, que es un milagro. Que es un milagro.
La familia de él viene de Oriente.
De
Y yo
origen.
estuve chequeando los tricks, de dónde salieron esta gente. ¿Son descendientes de canadienses o ingleses, no?
Son de ingleses.
Ingleses, sí. Y entonces tu familia vino para La Habana y eso, pero todavía hay una pila de tricks en La Habana.
Bueno, mi mamá primero en el 1955, she did an ad in the paper para una nanny que hacía falta en New York.
Y así fue como...
Entonces, habían 200 gente que habían aplicado y a ella la cogieron a
Y
ella.
ahí por eso
Y ella se fue para allá y de pronto allá se quedó como 2 o 3 años y fue cuando me pudo traer para Estados Unidos. Para New York.
para New York. Víctor, ok, tú sabes a los 10 años de Cuba, ¿no? Viniste para Miami.
Miami, a Kendall y Matacumbe como por 2 meses.
2 meses,
Y
¿no?
entonces nos tuvieron que sacar porque había que dar espacio para los otros muchachos que estaban viniendo. Y entonces me mandaron para Wichita, Kansas.
¿Hay alguno de esta gente que estaba contigo ahí?
Bueno, yo estaba
Ok, Carlos Fernández me dijo que no pude estar en Los Cayos.
ajá,
Me llamó para decirme que no podía estar aquí eso, pero growing up aquí en Miami was...
I was in Kansas for two years and then
¿Tú te acuerdas de la situación en Cuba antes de salir de ustedes? ¿Era tensa, o ustedes eran demasiado chiquitos para darse cuenta de eso?
no, I knew there was something going on, and then I was there through the Bay of Pigs invasion, and I saw how they locked up all the males in the Teatro Blanquita, which was a block from my house. And I saw that everybody was locked up before the invasion, and after all that commotion, that my mother told me, listen, you guys are going to be going to the United States, don't tell anybody, you know, and all that stuff.
Eso pasó. Yo soy de un pueblo pequeño de campo y antes de la invasión también recogieron a todo el mundo, lo pusieron en el cine, que era el lugar más grande también.
Right.
Y lo tuvieron hasta que se terminó la invasión. Okay, so you come to Miami. ¿En qué área viviste tú?
Okay, after Kansas, a couple of years, my parents came back to
Miami?
United States,
Right.
and then I asked to go live with them because I was, you know, I missed them. I was little.
¿O tú estabas, ellos
In
salieron?
Kansas, yeah, they came from Cuba in '63,
Okay.
and then I went.
No, porque tú estabas en
I was
Kansas.
in Kansas.
Entonces, cuando tú viniste para Miami, ellos vienen y te traen a ti.
Right. So I come back, and then they enrolled me in St. Peter and Paul. I went there for 7th and 8th grade, and then La Salle.
¿Cuándo empiezas a conocer tú a Carlos
I am riding, this is a funny story. I am riding my bicycle. I already have, I had visited a summer. My parents went up to Oklahoma to visit my brothers. They were in Kansas. And I went to visit, that's when he started playing the guitar, and then I saw the guitar, so I went, when I came back to Miami, I went downtown and bought me a $10 guitar, I started learning. So I thought I wanted to start a band, so I'm riding my bicycle around 1st Street and 20th Avenue, somewhere like that, and I hear boom, pa, I say, wait a minute, what is this? I follow the sound, you know, I hear drums, I follow the sound, and I see this guy in a carport with a snare drum, and then he had a rope hanging from the rafter, the wood rafter, with a cymbal because he didn't have a stand. And he was playing, and the cymbal was going every tune. I stopped my bike and I said, I found my drummer here. What's your name? Oh, my name is Carl. So we started talking right there and then. And then he knew a couple of people that played, and that's it, we started our first band.
Oh my God. ¿Y cuál fue ese? ¿Hay alguien aquí que después se unió a ustedes? Oh, no.
Bueno, a little bit later, with the group, the Queen's Kids, with a lot of people here. Tony was my piano player when we were in.
¿Tú estabas con los Queen Kids también?
Yo estuve con Víctor en como 4 años. Primero estábamos.
Dime los nombres despacito para poderlo coger.
Nosotros éramos, primero que nada, éramos. No. Primero que nada.
No se acuerda,
Sí,
caballero.
como que no, no me recuerdo de todo del grupo. Ellos siempre me llaman para preguntarme a mí, oye, ¿tú te recuerdas de esto? Pero era una banda que se llamaba The Pony Express.
Pony Express.
Y tocábamos en San Peter and Paul y La Salle. Y
estaban en Calle
pues salimos los Young Rascals y cambiamos el nombre de la banda para los Young Lovers. Y de ahí, después de pronto, Víctor conoció a Dave y a Norman y eso, y habían 3 cantantes, porque estaba Indio también, y empezamos los Queen's Kids.
Qué muy buena banda.
Y entonces, la gente no se recuerda de esto, pero es un punto importante. Nosotros teníamos el señor que hacía el place, que éramos The House Band, era como el manager de nosotros, él tenía un recording studio.
¿Cómo se llamaba?
Es Palmer.
Steve Palmer.
Sí, eran los Palmers.
Okay.
Y entonces, básicamente, teníamos una canción instrumental que se llamaba Chita, que siempre la tocábamos para subirnos y para bajarnos del escenario. Y se volvió bien popular. Y él quiso grabar. Entonces, mi padre, que era fotógrafo en Cuba y aquí en los Estados Unidos, que conocía mucha gente, conocía a este señor que se llamaba Nelson, se me olvidó el apellido, pero básicamente él era de Underworld en Cuba, en los casinos y esto. Y me manda a mí, a Norman y al flaco, no este flaco, otro flaco, para Nueva York, con un reel-to-reel tape, con esa canción instrumental. Y el tipo le dice a mi padre, oye, yo no conozco a nadie en el músico, nada más conozco al guitarrista de Tonight Show. So va, le lleva el tape, viene para atrás y nos dice, lo único que puedo hacer por ustedes es que va a haber un festival. Y lo único es que no le vamos a poder pagar ni el viaje, ni la estancia, ni nada. Pero no pueden tocar. El festival era Woodstock.
Oh my God.
En Woodstock le pagaron a 2 grupos nada más, porque se suponía que iba a ser un small loving, que es lo que llamaban cuando eso después se volvió, que eran los Who y una banda de Nueva York que se llamaba Chanana. Fueron los únicos 2 que le pagaron en Woodstock.
Todos los demás fueron de gratis.
Gratis, pero todo el mundo que tocó en Woodstock se hizo famoso. Todo el mundo.
Wow, that's
And
incredible.
that's a Queen's Kids.
Coño, estamos, ¿verdad que we're writing history here? Es el propósito de esto. Anyway, entonces, ¿quién más? Más nadie del grupo. ¿Cómo consigues a Carlos García?
Ok, cuando nosotros nos fuimos para Chicago por primera vez, Tony era el pianista y teníamos otro bajista que se llamaba Paul González, ¿verdad? Ibrahim González. Y entonces Tony decide que después de un año que él quería regresar a Miami y se fue. y también el bajista se quiso ir.
Porque se casó.
Ya se desgració.
Y entonces,
Lo sacaron de la banda.
I'm gonna do English because so then we're in Chicago without a bass player and a piano player, and our manager, which actually was the manager for Rufus, Chaka Khan and Rufus.
Barry Fox.
Barry Fox. Yeah, he said, well, we got to find you a piano player, and he knew this really good band that had a lead singer, piano player, and he brought him over, and we got Chuck.
Chuck Fanqua.
And then we called Carlos Garcia, who was playing in Miami with
Nemo split.
Eso sí me acuerdo. ¿Tú también?
And Carlos, we called him up and I said, listen, we need a bass player, you want to come up? He says, how do you guys split the money? We split it evenly. I'm there tomorrow. That was true story.
That's how we got it.
Oye, ahora que estamos hablando de estos grupos aquí, este señor que está aquí, Pepe, era organizaba los open house y se lo llevaba y le decía al dueño del lugar, pon el aire acondicionado bien alto para que la gente empiece a sudar porque they make the money selling coke. Porque la entrada, y la gente sudando y tomando Coca-Cola, and that's how he makes his money. Eso es lo que te vean aquí. ¿Ah?
There was una historia de tell the story of the Crackers. They became urban legends. I mean, they left, and everybody was talking about it.
The Crackers.
In every open house that I did, before, cuando yo entregaba los papelitos and everything, it says, there'll be a surprise. People would say, oh, what's the first surprise? We're bringing somebody. And then, wait, Kracker might be coming to the open house.
Y tú le decías eso para que la gente
Right,
quiera.
we did it. And the first time, it went great. Then the second time, but by the time it was like the fourth time, people were saying,
Pero Kracker no me decía.
somebody hires Kracker. I don't know who hired you guys, and you guys did one of the,
We did the electrician hall.
electrician hall. And then that was my moment of fame. I said,
Y tú estabas, tú organizaste ese open house.
no. But
Well, at least they
but I
give
do
you
credit.
He took credit for it.
That's excellent. Okay. Education. Fuiste a...
Miami-Dade,
No, antes de esto. Dame Junior High,
I went to St. Peter and Paul,
San Pedro Paul,
LaSalle High School.
el de ASAP, y después fuiste a Miami-Dade
Miami-Dade,
y
and then
FIU.
I graduated from FIU.
En arquitectura y
Miami-Dade, I got associates in architecture and music.
music.
And then in FIU, I finished in business administration.
¿Y tú, Carl, dónde, a qué Junior High fuiste?
First of all, okay, when I was in New York, I went to PS 105, PS 145, Booker T. Washington Junior High School, and in 1965, when I came down here to South Florida, I went to Citrus Grove Junior High.
Tú también fuiste a Citrus
I went 8th and 9th grade, then I went to Miami High for like 3 months, and then I left town.
Se fueron para
I left town, I went with the year 2000.
Oh, for the year 2000, que became a
We
very
went,
famous
we went up to
record.
New York. No, we gambled. I mean, we did it on a whim. You know, we put the band together here, and I told my mom I didn't want to go to school anymore, this and that. She goes, pues si no vas a ir al colegio, tienes que trabajar. So I became a bellhop, I became a
Bellhop,
waiter,
okay.
I became a busboy.
¿En dónde? ¿En qué hotel?
At the Waldman's Hotel in
Aquí, en Miami
Beach,
Beach.
to Lucerne. I mean, those are the two that stick
¿Qué
to
otro
me.
trabajo hacías tú cuando ibas al colegio?
A little kid, I paper route.
No, también tú eres de la gente de
Yeah.
la bicicleta.
And then I did a little bit of valet parking at the airport.
Okay.
When they had valet at the airport.
¿Eh?
I
Ford
delivered the
Basket.
papers for his
Para
dad was
Alfredo
a
García
photographer.
Alfredo.
His father was Tony Garcia, photographer of Patria y Diario de América. y eso. So we used to
Yo tengo que ver, if you show me his picture, probably no.
Oh, yeah. And then that's it. I am fortunate that I did music and I lived off the
Ahora,
music.
¿por qué se van a Chicago? Why?
Okay, this is a quick story. Is in 1971, we're playing here in Fort Lauderdale, and
At the Flying
at the
Machine.
Flying Machine. and an agent.
¿Algunos se acuerdan de ese lugar?
Sí, sí.
Toda la canalla se acuerda de ese lugar.
Por eso era spring break, era really big in Fort Lauderdale, it's not like it is now.
Yeah, it was-
El señor Don Lally vino de Chicago, que él era el que corría el Rush Up.
Yeah,
Y
it
básicamente
was,
nos vio tocar.
the biggest club in Chicago was called the Russia.
And
The
he
owner was there at the Flying Machine for spring break with a
with
booking
an
agent.
agent, David Ross.
Don said, we finish our set, we go to the back, and these two guys come in the back. Hi, my name is David Ross, how are you guys at? We'd like to take you guys up to Chicago. I says, yeah, well, after spring break in Miami in those days, the music
There was
died.
nothing going on.
You had no jobs. So we said, guys, let's
No,
go.
Chicago.
So I decided to stop school, and Tony too. And we said, let's go for Chicago. We got hired to go for like 4 weeks. So we pack up the truck, go to Chicago for 4 weeks, and we never came back.
You gotta tell them the Naples
What
story.
happened was, is the
You gotta
first
tell
week,
them the Naples story with
the first week that we played there, we were all dressed up in
No,
all
bonito,
makeup
no,
and tight pants and high heels, you know, and they hadn't seen anything like us because all the bands there, they were all wearing jeans and sneakers.
Ustedes estaban todos bien
T-shirts.
vestidos.
Well, we were-
Oh, yeah, no, we were like pristine, you know?
Bueno, es una de las cosas que empezaron los cubanos aquí. La orquesta Broadway de Nueva York fue la primera que se uniformaron todo el mundo y después todo el mundo followed them en 1960.
Yeah.
But what happened was is that, you know, the waitresses start making eyes at us and this and that, and you know, and the first night it wasn't that crowded. The second night was a little crowded. The third night it was really crowded. And I remember going up to the bartender and I went, "Does this place always gets this packed?" He goes, "No, no, they come in here to see you," and the majority were women.
Oh my God.
Also what happened is, when we arrived in Chicago, that's when Chicago Transit Authority, CTA, was really big, and every band was a copy of them with like horns and dirty hippie hair and this and that, and we get there, we all made up, this and that, and we were different.
Four-piece band.
And we were like, yeah,
Four-piece
four-piece
band with a
singer,
singer.
we had a conga, and then we were totally different.
People went back.
And then people said, wait a minute, that's fresh.
What the heck is this?
¿Dónde ustedes conocen Jimmy Miller?
Okay,
There's a story.
when, and yeah, this is a good story. When our manager, we started writing music. We started playing and writing music without having any records, and people coming to our place, filling it up without ever having a record. We were playing original music. And I said, wow, our manager said, are we ready to record? I said, yeah, we're ready. So he says, who do you want as a producer? Me, as a joke, said, I would like to get Jimmy Miller. So everybody starts laughing. And the guy, he was an attorney from Chicago, said, why are you guys laughing? Because he said, the #1 producer in the world.
Producer for the Rolling Stones.
Spooky Tooth, Traffic, Blind Faith, the Rolling Stones, Stevie Wonder, Eric Clapton. You know, I said, okay, we'll get him. I said, oh, come on. So
And he got it.
the guy got it.
The guy.
He got him, he came to Chicago, he saw us.
You saw us playing at the Russia.
Yeah. And actually it was at Mother's.
Was it Mother's?
But he, this is.
Este fue el primer
this is a
disco a la
good-
familia, ¿no?
This is a good
No
story.
sé si han visto los discos por ahí
And my
que tiene.
family knows most of the stories, but this one I don't think I ever told them. When they brought us out there, Jimmy Miller came to see us and he says, I like the group. I want to take him out there to record a single. You know, not to spend a lot of money, see if we can hit. So they put us in a studio, and there him and his personal engineer who had engineered the Rolling Stones, and he had just finished Exile on Main Street or something. So they're sitting back there and they say, okay, start your first song. So we do our first one, boom, 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 and they go, play another one. I'm going, oh my God.
People lo record.
They didn't like this one. Okay, play another one. So we play another one. Play another one. I said, oh my God, we're gonna go throw us out of here when these are no good. So after like 6 or 7 songs, he says, come in here. I'm saying, we're getting snapped back to Chicago and that's it. And he says, how much time do you guys have? I said, why? He says, we want to go for the album. Forget the single. That's when we said, okay. And then we said, yes!
And it is not luck, es que eran buenos. When you're good, olvídate que you make it.
He really, in fact, that engineer, Joe Sagarino, told me in private one day, Jimmy Miller is bored. Imagine having all those groups. He's bored of what he's doing. He feels like he's in a funk in his life, and after he met you guys and your music, he's a new guy.
Wow.
Those are the words of Joe Sagarino.
Ok, ¿tú te acuerdas de todos esos episodios
Oh,
también?
yeah. I just remember the Rush of Love Mother.
Bueno, el disco salió La Familia, que ustedes pusieron ahí también
That was our first release in ABC
un cover
Dunhill.
de Cuban.
Yeah,
de una
Yeah,
Cuban
because
box,
we're
¿no?
Cubans, they figured out.
¿Dónde están los discos por ahí?
Cigar box.
Somebody has it?
Yeah, that was a,
Tráelo acá.
Actually, that album won awards, cover.
yeah, that album won a cover for the
Muy
award
bonita.
for the cover.
Este me lo prestó Pepe, que yo estaba tratando de conseguir y Pepe tenía este de La Familia que se lo arreglé porque estaba todo roto.
At that,
So,
at that,
mira qué bonito con una fine cigars since 1492. Para el semestre fue 25 cigars, La Familia Kracker. So the cover was a hit, eh?
and that company, ABC Dunhill, at that moment was one of the biggest record companies. They had,
Three Dog
Three
Night,
Dog
Steely
Night,
Dan.
Steely Dan, the Mamas and the Papas, a Jim Croce,
Yeah.
and they decided to put Kracker on that.
Wow, that's it. Entonces el award está bien reconocido. Okay, entonces después, eso fue en Los Ángeles. ¿Cuándo graban el segundo con los Rolling Stones?
I'll let him keep talking.
Okay.
That was, it was 1973, wasn't it?
In 1970.
1970, because back then, the recordings took no longer than 3-4 weeks, because it was like
Very fast.
really fast. And I'll never forget coming to Los Angeles to record Kracker Brand, that second album. We were picked up by Sally, this girl named Sally, who was sister of the road manager for one of the guys, John Polis, that was working with Barry Fox, our manager. And so she picked us up at the airport in the van, and she goes, "You guys hungry?" And we went, "Yeah, we could eat," because we had been flying all night on the red eye. And when we got there, she took us to a diner, and we started to order and stuff, and we were drinking coffee, and all of a sudden, everything starts to tremble.
Que era
It was an earthquake. It was our first earthquake ever. So I remember going outside and going, if I'm going to leave this earth, I want to leave it outside.
That one, we,
Y entonces lo
by the
grabaron.
way, before we finish, La Familia, our single was Because of You, and it got to number 16 in Philadelphia.
Okay, el single, que no tenemos copia de
No, yeah,
Okay.
it got to number 16.
That was in the number 2 recording,
That was on our first album,
on the first album.
yes. And then after that, Miller said, let's go for a second album.
Y este,
And that's where we went for the Kracker Brand.
the Kracker Band aquí.
And we started recording in Los Angeles in 1973 and also recorded in the record plant in San Francisco. And that's
¿Eso fue en
when,
qué año?
1973, and that's when he was recording the Rolling Stones in Jamaica, Goat's Head Soup album. And that's where Jagger and Keith Richards heard our music, and that's where they made the connection and the deal to put us on their label and to take us on tour.
Ok, luego era de los Rolling Stones, pero había otro, sí, ABC Dunhill también
That
estaba.
was La
Yeah,
Familia.
ABC Dunhill in the States and Rolling Stones Records in Europe.
Oh, ok, eso es lo que quería saber. La diferencia. Ok, entonces, ¿dónde conocen ustedes a Mick Jagger?
In London.
En Londres.
Yeah.
How? ¿Qué estaban haciendo ustedes en Londres?
What were we doing?
Our manager was a very smart guy. I gotta give him a lot of credit for doing everything he did. He said, "You guys gotta move there. You gotta be close to them. You gotta be close to the Stones. Now that they signed
Y
you."
se mudaron
Yeah,
para
we moved.
Londres.
They found us an apartment and we lived in London.
We had a flat that has like 6 bedrooms.
Y todos ustedes vivieron juntos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In fact.
todo el
And,
mundo junto.
so we were there. We were there, and the Stones were in Amsterdam because they were rehearsing for the tour. And then we actually met the first night that we played with them in Vienna, Austria.
But before that, I think it was 3, 4 days later, I remember our Frank Novello saying, "Get your asses up and look pretty." We're taking pictures. So, you know, they had these limousines, they were like Rolls that came to pick us up, and they took us to Rolling Stones Records headquarters. And we sat there, I think there's a picture there that you showed. And I mean, they were flashing and asking questions, and I mean, it was crazy.
They started.
Ellos eran famosos, pero no eran tan famosos todavía en 1973.
No,
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Esta gente sabe más cosas.
You know, when we got to London, there was a lot of hoopla because we're the first group to be signed to Rolling Stones. Like, that was all over the papers.
Yo tengo copias de los
Yeah,
artículos.
all the
y de los
articles.
trades.
Mick Jagger on TV, they interviewed him and he talked about Kracker. Keith Richards in interviews said things about Kracker. And it was a big thing. They even made a little thing that you would pull a string, boom, and it would explode with confetti and say, Kracker, first group to be signed to Rolling Stones.
No, y tengo la fotografía donde están ellos y ustedes están abajo con Preston, ¿cómo se llama?
Billy Preston.
Yeah.
Billy Preston, right. Y ustedes de Kracker en la portada del cine, so that's excellent, you know, so. Okay, so, ¿cómo los invitan ellos ustedes a irse en el tour?
No, that was a deal made
With Jimmy
with
Miller.
Jimmy Miller when they put us on the label. They said, okay, we're going to take them on tour to promote the
Para
album.
que ellos ganan
So they can
más
make money.
máximo.
Yeah, it was funny because Jimmy Miller said, "The Stones want to sign you guys up." And we went, "Wow, great." Oh, we all got excited and stuff. He goes, "No, that's not all, that's not all. They also want you to open up for their tour."
Oh my God. That's-
So that was like,
It was a
Y ahí fueron a muchas ciudades en Europa, ¿no?
all over.
Mencionan las ciudades so we can get
Oh.
that place.
opening night was Vienna, Austria.
Okay.
And that was my first experience is seeing that many multitude of people. Tú sabes, tanta gente, it was so much that I remember when they called curtain call, 5 minutes, and we all lined up, getting ready to go up there, and I decided to take a look, and all I saw was humanity.
We were playing clubs and stuff like that. Now all of a sudden we played to, you know.
I turned around and I said, "Have you guys looked out there?" And Carlos Garcia and Artie, I remember them saying, "You got this, brother. Don't lose it on me now." Don't lose it on me. You can do this. Come on.
It was an experience.
Y entonces,
It was-
Every city in Germany.
Okay.
Düsseldorf, Mannheim,
mencióname,
Berlin,
fueron a Holanda,
Frankfurt, Holland, we played Rotterdam,
Bruselas,
Amsterdam,
también,
Brussels.
Rotterdam, and
Brussels.
Amsterdam.
Inglaterra, how many times?
We played
Manchester.
Manchester and we played 4 concerts in Wembley Pool.
Oh my God.
And we
Next
also
day,
did one in, God, Ireland, was it?
And Wales, I
Yeah.
mean, there were
Wales.
everywhere.
I mean,
¿qué edad tenían ustedes cuando que ellos?
during that time, I was like 23, almost
¿Y
24.
tú?
I just turned 23. You must be
Imagínate.
24.
Esta gente pensaría que eran unos stars, you know, being famous at that younger age, you know. Entonces, bueno, de ahí terminaron el tour y what happened? Ustedes regresan a Chicago.
To Chicago.
Okay.
Few things happened.
Y ellos entonces, si se puede saber, lo puede decir aquí.
Well, we'll finish the tour when we think that we're gonna, you know, continue. Then our manager got us tours in the United States with
¿Qué ciudad?
Dr. John. Well, we did the upper East Coast with Chuck Berry, opening up
Okay.
for Chuck Berry. We did
Sly and the Family
Sly and the Family Stone, a lot of the Midwest with Sly and the Family Stone.
Sticks,
Muddy Waters.
Geils Band, Muddy Waters and Chicago area, and we did also B.B. King.
Really King, wow.
Art.
Heart, yes, we did a little with Heart.
With Heart, that's all.
We did with Styx, we did REO Speedwagon with Cheap Trick, forget, you know. Oh, Shanana, there was a group that was,
Hot.
they had that bebop sound, and they were
Doo-wop.
big. And we did a tour with them.
Bueno, Misa, ¿dónde estaba Futi mientras ustedes estaban casados y lo tenían
I was
secuestrado?
playing with Emilito, and Chirino was their drummer.
¿De verdad?
Yes.
Wow, ¿cómo se llama el grupo?
Traveling Wonder.
The Traveling Wonder.
¿No era?
Originally was a Traveling Wonder.
Whalers.
Well, the
Whalers.
Whalers was in high school,
Okay.
because we were in LaSalle, you know, I was a couple of years ahead of him, because I'm a little bit senior.
Pero tú fuiste con...
No, I went to LaSalle. I used to have.
Oh, you hang around con... Yo
Yeah,
pensé
yeah,
que tú
because I
eras
did
porque...
right there, you know.
Oh, I see.
But I went to LaSalle for junior and senior year. And the story, I'll make it right here.
Yeah, do it, because...
Willie Chirino was in LaSalle, I was a junior, a senior, and he was a junior. And we met, you know, and I was doing some guitar with him, you know, and we were fooling around. I was in high school. And one day, Willie was this guy that
Está tocando siempre.
always, you know.
All the instruments.
No, he plays everything. you
No, I know, pero he's a drummer, él me lo dijo.
Yeah, he's a great drummer. And he said, you know, I play tumba, you know, I want to get along with you, you know, so there was a show, there was a little gig in Tapita Hall, was it? One day that he came with us. I don't remember, that's 70.
Sears or whatever. We rented the place.
Oh, no, that day oh, yes, another story. Then we rented the Cedars of Lebanon Hall.
El hall.
Hall, you know, remember that place? In 26 Road and
Broadway. Ya no está ahí ya.
Right now.
Okay. Entonces, ¿qué pasó? Y empezaron a
It was
formar...
like, my father was a brewmaster for Regal Brewery, which is already destroyed.
Desapareció también.
He gave us the beer. We went to see the lady in charge of the Syrian Lebanon or whatever. We rented it for nothing.
Una americana, ¿no?
Yeah, no, she was Syrian or
She was Syrian,
Lebanese,
okay.
yes. I said, oh, you Cuban refugees? Yes, we are. So we got it. We said, okay, fine. So we told everybody.
And it got the best of some of the people in charge with us. And also, after our tours in here, you know, disco music started picking up big time. And it was tough to be a rock and roll band back
Really
then.
tough.
Oye, el disco se llevó todo el mundo.
All the colleges that we played at, we played in every college in the Midwest. All of a sudden, with one DJ, they would fill up an auditorium and they didn't need any more bands.
That's what happened.
And then we did one last attempt, which was with TK Records, because they were the #1 record label.
Con Harry
at the time.
Stone, es un personaje.
Yeah.
Es uno de los
Henry
primeros.
Stone and Steve Alemo.
When we signed with
¿Steve
them,
Will también?
Steve Alemo.
Oh, Alemo.
When we signed with them in Billboard, 5 out of the top 10 artists was TK Records.
Ellos grababan mucho grupo de color.
ABC and the Sunshine Band, Betty Wright, until they had it all. So they heard us and they said, we would like to have a rock and roll act.
Y aquí salió
And that's where we recorded.
Kracker.
And that
¿Cómo vendió bastante?
we had a problem because a lot of the
The
people,
album cover.
well, the album cover gave us a little problem.
Un poco sexy la portada esa.
Besides that, everybody that we played for, they couldn't find our records in the record store, because when they send anything from TK Records, they would put it on their disco, and nobody could look us up. We can't find your album, we want to buy it. And that was one problem that we had. And then disco was really took over, and we broke up, and that's where Carl went to Foxy, and then now you can pick up the story.
¿Cómo caes tú en Foxy?
Well, I had just gotten married and
¿Cuántas veces te has casado?
too many times.
Oye,
My first wife.
Is she here?
No, she's not, thank God.
¿ustedes saben quién tiene el récord? Raúl, the hand accelerado 13 times.
Oh my God! He
Me
must
lo
be
dijo
more
que-
broke than me.
So anyway,
No, but anyways, my wife had just gotten pregnant, okay? And we couldn't get, in Kracker, we couldn't get anything going. You know, I mean, it was very little, we were doing like weekends and it was getting less and less, you know, and I got a call from Henry Stone and Ish Ledesma. That Ish wanted me to join Foxy and be their lead singer and help him write lyrics, because Ish couldn't write very good lyrics back then, because the first Foxy album was pretty much instrumental, you know, with do, you know, that's all it had. And Henry Stone wanted to get them going, and he knew that in Kracker, all five of us wrote, you know, and he wanted to get me in as a singer, and also, you know, like, oh, this guy is rock and roll, you know, he can write some lyrics, and so that was the idea, you know. And I got promised fairly good money, and I wasn't making that much at that time, and I had to think of the future. So, I mean, it was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make, because I was with these guys. These guys were my brothers. I mean, we were like family, and I had to think for the first time as an adult, because you know, up until then I was just on a joyride. I was a good
ya
old
estabas casado ya.
yeah. I was on a joyride, you know, and I had to think about the future and everything else, and I figured, well, okay, I'll take a chance, I'll do it. So I came down here, and I had to tell these guys that, guys, you know, I got an offer, and I mean, I'm really seriously thinking about taking it, because I gotta go. I have to look out for the future. I have to make some money.
Y ahí es cuando escribe la canción.
Get off.
Get off.
And I mean, that was the hardest year of my life
Oh, really?
when I joined Foxy, because I mean, we were playing the 747 Lounge, we were playing a Marco Polo, the Swing Lounge. I mean, that wasn't bad, but I mean, some of the other places were like, whoa, lounges, you know. But I was making a little bit of money, you know. And my wife went to Canada, because that's where she was from, and she was pregnant, and she wanted to spend some time in Canada with her grandmother that was ill, and she was getting ready to die. So she went over there while I was down here, and I had to get a place together and everything else, and at the same time, go into the studio and record. And we were recording like all the time, you know, and the TK wasn't giving us any front money. No advances, no nothing, you know, and it was like, they just wanted us to get that album done, and it was like, we gotta make some money, we gotta survive here. You know, so that was a very hard year for me. And
¿Qué tiempo
at the
tuviste
end,
con Foxy?
I was with them about almost 2 years, a year and a half. It took almost a year to finish that
How
album.
do you get with Paul Revere?
Wow, Paul Revere, okay. After Get Off, I was enjoying, you know, my success with Get Off. Royalties were coming in like crazy. I was making a lot of money. I had the big house in Lighthouse Point with a pool. I had 2 cars. You know, life was good. Life was good. Drugs were abundant. Drinks were everywhere. You know, extramarital affairs. I mean, you know, it was a crazy time. Sorry.
Este es el único que lo admite.
I don't hold back. Look at Victor, he's going, I don't know, man. Come on, man. Give him a break. Give him a break.
Wives out here.
But what happened was, that marriage fell apart. And when that marriage fell apart, so did the money, and so did the house, and so did the cars. Because everything went there. Okay, so I started gigging in Fort Lauderdale. That's where that picture you saw that says "looking pretty." It was me coming out, you know, just nobody knew who the heck I was really, you know. But Paul Lorenzo, an old friend of ours who used to own the flying machine, he said, "Come on down, man, come on down. We'll find your band and put you to work." So I did, and just at that time, Get Off hits. you know. So I started playing in Fort Lauderdale quite a lot, and then I went with a producer came down by the name of Dick Wagner, who was the lead guitar player for Alice Cooper, and he also wrote a lot of songs for Alice Cooper, like Only Women Bleed and stuff like that. And he says, I want to produce you, man, because you're going to be the next big thing. I said, okay, so what do you want to do? So we went over to my house, where I had a nice baby grand piano, and we sat down, and I showed him all the songs that I had written, right? And he goes, yeah, those are good ideas, but I wrote this while watching you sing, and he played for me a song that I went, whoa. And I wrote it just for you. It's in your key and everything. So, you know, we started there, and we wrote a couple of songs together. And that one song he wrote by himself, and he goes, we gotta go record this, because Epic Records might be interested. You know, I said, Epic Records? Really? They haven't even heard me. No, don't worry. They're gonna love it. They're gonna love it. So we went up to Longview Farms in Massachusetts, Massachusetts. And it was close to Christmas, and it was snowing like crazy. Went in there with top-notch musicians. Rick Murata on drums, David Sanborn on sax, Dick Wagner on guitar, Beth Sussman on piano. I mean, it was an all-star group, you know, and did those 3 songs, and those 3 songs came off great. And Epic Records, after we finished, we went to New York City. We stayed at the Plaza Hotel, and he invited I can't remember the name of the executive, but I mean, he came down, and he played it for him in a cassette. Back then, we used to have cassettes. Yeah. He played it for him in a cassette in a ghetto blaster, and the guy went, whoa, this is great. Oh, let's do this. Okay, so Dick looks at me, and the guy that was handling my business at the time, they had made a deal where he was going to pay half of the money, because those 3 songs, they cost $30,000 to record. And the guy that was handling me at the time backed out, leaving Dick having to pay that whole amount. So he says, I'm out.
So how do you get with the Puerto Rico?
Well, I became sorry, I'm making a long story.
No, I'm
trying to make it short as I can. But if I don't do it like this, it doesn't make sense. I became like a singer for hire, and I started doing a lot of studio work for bands that wanted to do demos and stuff, and I was making really good money. And I got this call from this band in Indianapolis that was called the Faith Band, and they wanted me to record 3 songs for them because they were going to do the same thing, like present it to a record company. So I went, okay, well, my fee will be $800, and you got to pay my way there and feed me, and I'm on the plane first thing in the morning back to Fort Lauderdale. I went, okay, no problem. So went out there and did that, and I stayed with them. They made me stay with them because after they heard me sing, they went, you can't go, man, you can't go. No, we got plans. So they got a hold of Premier Talent in town in Indianapolis. And Premier heard the demo that I had done in one night. In one night I did like 4 songs. And they loved it. And they went, I tell you what, are you guys available next week for opening up for Rick Springfield at the Knoxville State Fair in Tennessee? And they said, sure. And they came back to me and they said, you gotta stay a week, man, you gotta stay a week. So I said, why? And they told me. And I said, okay, all right, I'll stay the week. No problem. I figured it was summertime, hey, I can hang out. 8 months later, you know, it's winter in Indianapolis, nothing going on, and I get a call from Furman Goitisolo, who is KC's. He calls me and goes, Oye, Carl, Omar Martinez, who was the drummer for Paul Revere, is a Cuban, says they're looking for a lead singer and he wants your number. So I said, okay, give him my number. So he gave him the number where I was in Indianapolis. I talked to Omar, and Omar says, man, Carl, man, I know you for a long time, which I have. I knew him for a long time. Paul Revere really needs a lead singer and he wants you there. And I said, well, you tell Paul Revere to call me. So like 15 minutes later, I get another call. It's Paul Revere. And he goes, Paul Revere here. My first thing that I said to him was, are you still alive? And he says, hey, I got an idea for you. You know, why don't you come down to Reno, Nevada and audition? And I said, whoa, 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 wait a minute. I don't audition for nobody, okay? You know who I am, you've heard of me, you've heard my recordings. What it is, what you see is what you get. And I was really egotistical back then. And he says, okay, well, let's make a deal, okay? Let's give it a 6-month trial. So I went to Reno on a red eye from Chicago, because I went to Chicago to visit a friend. I got sidetracked there for one night. I missed my flight, so I had to take the next morning. When I got to Reno, Nevada, I was driven to Carson City, where I was with Omar Martinez and Danny Krause. We rehearsed for 3 days, all these songs that I've never been a Paul Revere and the Raider fan, so I never learned.
But you changed their music.
I kind of did, but what I did
Tuviste
was
20 años con ellos, 20 years.
20 years.
Wow,
On the first night, after the first show, we have Burton Cummings is out there. Who's the guy from Bachman Turner is in the audience. Mark Lindsay, the original singer, is out
Y
there.
te firmaron. That's what I'm trying to.
That's it. After the first show.
That's
After
it.
the first show, he says, "You want the job? You got it."
Tuviste 20 años, se terminó Paul Revere. ¿Por qué se termina Paul Revere?
Well, because. No, ya se murió, sí, ya se
No,
murió.
he's dead.
No, what it was,
Entonces son peores que yo.
he wanted, él quería ir para Branson, Missouri. Tú sabes, yo con aquello,
Rapidito,
no.
rapidito, porque es que tenemos que
I don't want to be in Branson, Missouri.
Right, right. So, anyway, meantime, ¿ustedes qué hacían aquí?
Okay, meantime, I come back,
Okay.
and after playing concerts and colleges and stuff like that, I started trying to put stuff together, and I saw that I was going to start playing 5 sets a night and this and that, and I said I couldn't.
You could. ¿En qué año fue eso?
That was 78, maybe?
78, 78.
So
Y
I couldn't.
viniste para Miami, empezaste a trabajar haciendo qué?
I worked 1 year as a Miami-Dade Water and Sewer, because I had
Okay.
studied architecture and all that, and I worked 1 year there, and then I started doing my own little deal and bought a house, I fixed it up, I sold it, this and that, and I started
Good
getting
money.
into that business. And that's what I was doing for another, I would say 15 years.
Hasta que se tropieza.
Until I,
Quiero, ¿quién es el de la idea de?
okay, the story is like this. The Johnny Gaudi and
¿Y Johnny vive todavía?
Coño, no lo entiendes, oye, no lo entiendes todavía.
Yo lo he visto
there were certain wives that wanted to do this benefit
Right.
for the University of Miami neonatal unit, the children that are born with problems. And they want to do a benefit. So they said, let's put the band back together and do it. And I said, okay. So then I was going with Fulvio, Emilito, Johnny, and at that time I was fooling around with Gaby and Guille just playing in the garage and stuff. So I asked Gaby, can you play the drums? He said, yes.
Gaby es bueno.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's excellent.
So
Además
then,
tiene personalidad, that makes the drum sound better.
so then we did this benefit, and they made their money, and it was great. And then from that, it became another thing, and then another party, and that's how people, started.
Después Larios. Ahí fue when I heard of you guys.
Yeah.
Lario. Eso fue, how many years después que
Pues we did Titanic.
Yeah.
No, pero yo los vi a ustedes a que me dijo, vayan a todos a ver este grupo de está Emilito, y cuando me dijeron Emilito y todo, y yo digo, oh, acá hay dos, y entonces así es como yo.
Right, so then people, started getting very, very popular, and then when Carl came down, we had another side group called Spill the Wine, and the singer really didn't want to play that much more. And Carl had just come down, and I said, Carl, we got an opening here, you want to join Spill the Wine? And he joined Spill the Wine.
Entonces David,
David was.
sí, estaba con
Oh, that's
People You Know
right.
y entonces él con Spill the
You
Wine.
take it over, baby. What happened to John?
No, we lost Johnny.
And it went away.
Johnny for a while. Johnny went to the
I
house.
saw you.
He went to the big house.
Johnny,
He went to the big house.
Johnny had to go away for a little while.
No, por eso.
And David, we had played at his birthday party, right?
Right.
You guys first played for my friend's 40th at the Rat Scout.
Right.
Oh, at the
Right.
original.
Yeah,
And I
At the
came-
new one or the old one?
The old one.
The old one, okay.
So that would have been like, what, 2002 or something?
Unique, what
So,
What a guy.
a guy.
anyway, so I saw them play and they were playing all this music that I had the 45s from my older brother, and I'm like, man, these guys are good. So I had, my 40th was a short time later, and I said, will you play mine? And then, and I knew Johnny because we had, he was a parent with children my children's age.
He sang with us at the Titanic.
Yeah, one time I think
Yeah.
his voice got hoarse and he said, get up here and sing this song. So I got up there, but until these guys pulled me along.
And they like you y dejaron a John.
Oh,
Right now, we
He
got
had big shoes.
The problem with David is that he used to be very scared of singing.
No, but óyeme,
He
he's-
he already finished.
tiene la presencia de high, and he look better than Johnny Galli. That's why he's higher.
but he's taller since he got his knees hit.
He's the youngest though.
I know, you're the youngest, right? What are you, in your 50s now?
53.
Oh, that's okay. Esta gente está en los 65. So anyway, bueno, yo creo que, let's open up para preguntas. Anybody who wants to ask esta gente, go ahead and ask the question. Okay. Mario, párate y di la pregunta para que te puedan recoger la Mario Mulo era banquero mío, pero no me prestaba dinero.
¿Cómo fue que el nombre Kracker?
Sale.
¿Quién inventó el
nombre de
Kracker? ¿Qué más?
That's a good
Yo
question.
sí me recuerdo.
¿Quién fue?
Estábamos, it was me, Artie Casado, Araña, Paul Gonzalez.
Araña, que todavía está dando vueltas por ahí.
I don't know if you were there or not. I don't think you were there. No. And it was Norman Fernandez, okay? And I used to have this trailer from another wife. But anyways, we were all sitting around. Were you there, Tony?
No.
No. Okay. It was just us. We're all high as a kite. And drinking beer and smoking joints. Excuse me, everybody.
That's okay.
That's what we all did at one time. And we were thinking with Artie and stuff, and we're talking, and you know, man, what can we call the band? You know, we got all these Cuban crackers, right?
Oh.
And we're eating the Cuban crackers.
Say that, no, I don't.
Entonces, I think it was Norman that said, coño chico, ¿por qué no llamamos el grupo Kracker?
Pero no iban a poner con C, lo pusieron con K.
Well, exactly, but that came a little later. Artie came up with the K. Okay, if we're gonna be Kracker, let's do it with a K. Entonces, Arturo, como él es tremendo artista,
Yes.
empezó a dibujar Kracker.
I used to freelance for
Y
Man
mientras
Magazine.
más lo dijo, más le gustó,
Man Magazine.
and that was it.
Oh.
Ahí mismo se quedó.
Artie
That's a
was-
very good name because, oh yeah, that's
Artie was very
excellent.
good. When I started a band called Cock, he
Estaba viendo pornográfico.
Oye, estaba sin otro.
Oye,
with a chicken head. Rooster! You mean with a chicken head? He was crazy. Rooster!
lanzado. No, the drummer for Kracker. His uncle, his mother's brother was Proía.
Oh, yeah, sí, claro, el de
Proía.
zigzag.
Right,
Five
five
versus
versus five.
Tú eras zigzag, pero yo
Zigzag.
I have a question. Victor, you mentioned, and being later, but I want you to go into, not details, but explain the opening for the Rolling Stones. And Carl was saying, no, I opened up the curtain. I remember there was an article, I think it was Rolling Stone magazine, real small, when you guys opened up, and it says that Jimmy Miller had mentioned to somebody, I don't know, that he had found the next
Rolling Stone?
Mick Jagger and the next Rolling Stones.
He was very excited.
He was excited.
But how, I mean, okay, you guys, like you said, you used to what, maybe 1,000 people or a club.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're front
We
with
were,
what?
yeah.
That was shocking. The first time
It was
they-
shock.
Yeah.
Can you estimate the crowd, how big was it? 200,000, 100,000?
No, we played for like 50,000.
50,000.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, when I looked out there and I saw all that, I was scared shitless. I was scared to death. My face turned white.
¿Qué estabas diciendo tú?
No, tú sabes una cosa. Cuando me subí allá arriba, tenía una nerviosidad arriba. I was like,
Shaking.
I got a question.
but as soon as I hit that first note,
That, you know, when you start and you hit that first note, you
Yes,
automatic play.
Is there anything different when you're playing on that scale with the sound system that you have to get used to, or that's different? Because, you know, if you're way back there, and you're looking at a screen, these guys are, it's out of sync because it takes the sound, you know, longer. Is there any kind of funny business like that when you're on stage?
They had it
not
down.
on the stage.
They had this monitoring system that
It
was
was incredible.
unbelievable. They had a light system that they never used ever again, and I don't know why.
They had all the mirrors.
The reflectors were going up to a mirror about 30 feet in front of you and coming right back to you. So instead of being at the end of the auditorium,
Instead of hitting you
it
straight.
was like, you were like glowing. It was unbelievable.
It was incredible.
Yeah,
It was incredible.
Wow.
There's nothing like playing on a big major league stage. Nothing like it. I'm serious.
and the stage was on an angle. So that if you walk back, you weren't covered by anybody. It was like you were on an angle there.
Carl, how many kids do you have?
I have. But he knows. I have 4 girls.
Okay.
Okay. My youngest, Isabel.
Isabel, mira qué linda es.
She's
Bien
12 years
blanquita. Stand up, Isabel, párate, mira qué bella.
With my wife Tabitha over there,
Yeah.
and
Qué
she's
linda es.
much younger than I am.
Yeah,
Yeah, what do you mean you know?
but anyway.
No, I have my firstborn that I just got to meet 2 years ago. Okay, her name is Krista. She's 44 years old. My second is, her name is Tasia Driggs Hall, and she's an actress in New York. And she is 36, honey? 37? 35? Come on, man. Am I close?
Couple now.
She's 38.
She's 38. Getting older. Okay, then I also have Angel that lives out in Los Angeles, and she's 26.
Tú tienes 4 hembras.
I got 4. They know.
¿Y tú cuántos hijos tienes?
Yeah, 3 boys.
¿Dónde están ellos?
Austin, Amy,
A ver,
Zoe,
stand up, stand up.
Big boy.
Grand slam, oh my God. Oye, pero lucen mejor que tú.
I
No
know.
digan nada. Por lo menos they're taller.
I hope so.
Okay,
So
wow.
you had all boys and I had all girls. There you go.
Oye, me das, I got 3 daughters. God bless you. Anyway, otras preguntas, guys. Pregunten lo que ustedes quieran.
Wait, how did you come up with, or how did we come up with people you know?
Okay.
Because I mean, I was told by, it was Johnny that came up with it. At that dinner that we had when we first got together at somebody's house, I forgot who it was.
Right, it was, yes, I remember that.
But Cindy told me the other day that she came up with it.
That's what she said.
That's what
I'm
she
not
said.
getting into that.
Pero lo que dijo Benito ahorita,
What's your recollection?
lo que dijo Benito ahorita, que everybody knew you.
That was, I mean, we did.
No, pero él estaba hablando cuando estaba con Willy Chirino. That was like.
Traveling Wilburys.
Cuando él dice, le pusimos el nombre porque todo el mundo nos conocía.
From the first album, Kracker Band. That was Kracker, and I'm so glad I found you.